This series is being presented for those individuals who have a desire to know and understand the Book of Revelation. The composition has not been performed by a biblical scholar, but by someone who can relate to the difficulties in putting the Revelation pieces together to gain some understanding of the book and associated books. I know there will be some who will look at the document with critical eyes and say, that is wrong, and that is wrong. However, I would say to those individuals, that is a major issue with the church today. We are always looking for fault rather than the areas in which we can agree. In spite of the naysayers, I trust that many of you will find Prelude to Revelation informative, helpful, and beginning of an insightful understanding of Revelation. Stay connected for future releases of Revelation and the associated books of the Bible. This presentation is presented in two parts. Volume 1, Number 2 follows. Welcome to Rev4 Dummies. In the Prelude to Revelations, let's look at the overview. We have the captivity, and some of the challenges that they faced were food offered to idols. And then there was Nebuchadnezzar's dream, the image, the idol, the fiery furnace. Then there was the handwriting on the wall, Daniel's daily devotional, and Daniel in the lion's den as a result of that devotional, Daniel's dream, and then the four beasts, a future prophecy of things to come. As far as Daniel's dream was concerned, there were several subsets of that. There was the 21 days of spiritual warfare. Then there was the prophecy of the 70 weeks. And under that 70 weeks, there was the decree to restore, the first coming of the Messiah, coming of the beast, the tribulation period, desecration of the temple during the tribulation period, and then the second coming of the Messiah. One of the key things that occurred during this time period was the decree to restore, and that's when Israel returned to Jerusalem. And during that time, the decree, or the month of Nisan, given by Artaxerxes, which begins the countdown to the Messiah. And then there was opposition to Nehemiah as he began to build the wall, and it took 49 years to complete. Jeremiah 34 verses 1 through 3, also in chapter 32 verse 28, Jerusalem and King Zedekiah shall fall to Babylon, stated in Jeremiah 39 verse 1. Jeremiah 25 verse 1, first year of Nebuchadnezzar's reign. Jeremiah 25:11, Israel shall serve 70 years. Jeremiah 25:12, at end of 70 years, God will punish Babylon, also stated in Daniel 5. Jeremiah 25 verse 18 and chapter 33 verse 10, Jerusalem will be desolate. Jeremiah 27:7, and all nations will serve him and his son's son, also stated in Daniel 5 verse 1. Jeremiah 39:9, possessions and people taken to Babylon, stated in Isaiah 39 verses 5 through 7. In Jeremiah 50 verse 18 and 28 through 31, God's vengeance against Babylon, also stated in Daniel 5 verses 26 through 28. So the question is, why the captivity? Why was Jerusalem or Israel taken into captivity by the Babylonians? In Jeremiah 25 verses 3 to 4, one, they were of the flesh, they did not listen. Jeremiah 25:5, did not turn from the evil ways, which was a hard problem. Jeremiah 25:5, did not turn from evil doings, which were their actions. Jeremiah 25:6, went after other gods or idols. And Jeremiah 25:6 as well, provoked God to act through their pride. During the time of the prophecies, Jeremiah was living in Jerusalem prior to the conquest of Israel by Babylon. The prophetic words spoken by Jeremiah spanned a 70-year period with an accuracy impossible by man. In Jeremiah 50, verses 1 through 3, 9, and 51, verses 48, a northern nation would conquer them, that is, Babylon. In Jeremiah 51, verses 11 and 28, this nation is associated with the Medes, or Persia. In Jeremiah 51, verse 53, Babylon is described in her fortifications. Babylon was known to have walls 80 feet high and room for 3 chariots on top. In Jeremiah 50, verse 24, Babylon will be taken by a trick or snare. Jeremiah 51, verse 36, her death is associated with drying up of water. The Euphrates River went through Babylon. This river was diverted by the Medes to provide entrance into Babylon, fulfilling the prophecies. Jeremiah 51:39 would happen during a great feast, as identified in Daniel 5, verse 1. Jeremiah 27:6 through 7 would happen to Nebuchadnezzar's grandson, also identified in Daniel 5, verse 1. Belshazzar, a co-regent, was son of Nabonidus, which was the son of Nebuchadnezzar. Jeremiah 50, verse 18, God's vengeance against Babylon, which was described in Daniel chapter 5, verses 26. And then, of course, there was the handwriting on the wall. Isaiah 39, verse 6 through 7. Behold, the days come that all that is in thine house, and that which thy fathers have laid up in store until this day, shall be carried to Babylon. Nothing shall be left, saith the Lord. Verse 7. And of thy sons that shall issue from thee, which thou shalt beget, shall they also be taken away, and they shall be eunuchs in the palace of the king of Babylon. In the late 7th century BC, the kingdom of Judah was a client state of the Syrian Empire. In the last decades of the century, Assyria was overthrown by Babylon, an Assyrian province. Egypt, fearing the sudden rise of the Neo-Babylonian Empire, seized control of Assyrian territory up to the Euphrates River in Syria, but Babylon counterattacked. In the process, Josiah, the king of Judah, was killed in a battle with the Egyptians at the Battle of Megiddo in 609 BC. After the defeat of Pharaoh Necho's army by the Babylonians at Carchemish in 605 BC, Jehoiakim began paying tribute to Nebuchadnezzar II of Babylon. Some of the young nobility of Judah, such as Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, were taken to Babylon. After Nebuchadnezzar was defeated in battle in 601 BC by Egypt, Judah revolted against Babylon, culminating in a 3-month siege of Jerusalem beginning in late 598 BC. Jehoiakim, the king of Judah, died during the siege. Despite the remonstrations of Jeremiah and others of the pro-Babylonian party, Zedekiah revolted against Babylon and entered into an alliance with Pharaoh Hophra. Nebuchadnezzar returned, defeated the Egyptians, and again besieged Jerusalem, resulting in the city's destruction in 587 BC. Nebuchadnezzar destroyed the city wall and the temple, together with the houses of the most important citizens. Zedekiah was blinded and taken to Babylon with many others. This is the end of Volume 1, Number 1, a study of Jeremiah, which is the beginning part of the series, Prelude to Revelation. The second part of Volume 1 is about the beast of Nebuchadnezzar's dream.